Hello again, you education volunteers. This is Matthew with MPG, Matthew's Botanical Garden. Much like the Missouri Botanical Garden, I too have a nice little vegetable garden. At MPG, you may be familiar with Kemper. Here, don't have a name for it, it's just my vegetable garden. Although, I guess this year, we're calling this our Victory Garden. Victory over quarantine. It's kind of, again, keeping things in perspective. When you think about the Victory Gardens in the 1940s, goodness, what was going on in the world in the 1940s and people going off into wars. I'm being asked to sit at home and make videos about my plants. It's not that bad in comparison. Anyway, so my Victory Garden for plants here. This is about the third growing season for this garden. You'll see here in a second when I give you the tour of the garden. The garden is created by 4 by 8 by 12 foot boards, pressure treated boards. Honestly, you could go do any size that you want. 4 by 8 or 4 by 10 boards would work depending on what your spaces are looking like. So what I did, I kind of mapped out a general outline of the shape that I wanted it. I wanted it as a U that would allow me access to the middle and to the outsides to get arm's reach within every plant so I didn't have to trample on anything. Also, after I mapped it out, I dug down about 10 to 12 inches, probably less in some other areas if I'm being honest, because that was a lot of digging. Digging out the soil just to remove any of the soil that was already there, just so I knew that I had a contaminant-free soil base, since this vegetable garden would be for me and my family and my little one. So I just wanted to try to knock out every little possibility that I could. So I mapped out the garden, dug down 12 inches. I said roughly, we're on the outcrops of the Ozarks here, and underneath this garden is rock after rock after rock after rock after rock. And some rocks I just said, nope, I'm done. It's not worth it. So, ideal situation, I would have dug 12 inches underneath this, filled it all with soil from a nursery. Realistically, it's probably 8 inches in some places, a little deeper in others. But all of this soil is from a local nursery. It's a really good soil. Each year I add a little bit to it just to keep the nutrients going, and I do try to rotate the crops out a little bit. But again, we're doing this on a pretty small scale, so it's not too vital. And I am turning the soil, not adding new stuff. When we do start planting here, you'll notice in the next little video that I'll show you, we have planted some stuff. We have a few radishes out, lettuce. Looks like there's some strawberries out there, cabbage. We got some green beans happening here. These are all things that we started inside on our grow tower, and I'll show you that in another video here a little bit as well, and put them out. But once we start planting more of the ones that we started inside, you'll kind of see the gardens take shape. We kind of do like a hybrid of square foot gardening and postage stamp gardening. Both are great. It's worthwhile looking those up if you've never heard of those before. It's just a way to maximize your growing spaces in a container garden like this, to make sure you're maximizing your entire footprint. So you'll see that once everything starts growing up. Right now what we've done is we added a lot of seeds and a few of the early season vegetables that we know could withstand an early hard frost, much like the one we just had. So here's a view from the other side. So I was talking to you as I walked in through the gate, and you would have been on the back side of the garden. Now I'm showing you the front side of the garden. As you can see here, the general shape is that of a U, with 2 legs going on either side with a little spot in the middle. Again, as I mentioned before, that's just really, that shape was designed just to allow us access to all sides of the garden. So we're able to pick from pretty much anywhere. We don't have to reach over too far. Some of the little friends that we have in there now, we planted some cabbages, some beans. I guess that's a radish there that Amy had put out there. Just a variety of little plants that we started inside. I'll show you the grow light tower on another episode where a majority of our plants are right now. Just kind of waiting until we get past that last freeze. Historically, the last freeze would have been April 15th. It's a couple days after that, and we just had a pretty big frost. So slowly, once we're sure that all the chance of a frost is pretty much dissipated, we'll start bringing out those plants that we have on the grow lights now. As I was talking earlier about the 4x8s, so the border of my garden is made from pressure treated 4x8x12s. And here you can see one on the bottom, one on the top. Again, so that was to offset the elevation changes that are happening on my ground here. And you can see we got that over there as well. For you veteran MPG folks, you may notice that the lattice system that I kind of created up there, it kind of mimics, if you close your eyes and use your imagination, it kind of mimics that wood structure outside the rose garden with the Chihuly next to Lehman. And then again, if you use your imagination, on the bottom there we have bamboo. That bamboo kind of looks like what it would outside that old cottage next to the museum. More so from decoration, the structure has a purpose. We had lots of deer hit up our garden last year and pretty much ate every vegetable we had growing. And then on the bottom, we put out the bamboo to keep out the squirrels and other little critters. But yeah, anybody could grow a victory garden. It doesn't have to be that elaborate. Like I said, just take a 4x8x10, make a square, make a rectangle, put some soil in there, and you're good to go. There's a lot of great resources online on what plants to plant and when to plant them. But if you have any particular questions, I'd be more than happy to ask those or answer those for you. So, thank you. I'll let you give you about 30 seconds to enjoy the bluebirds and the cardinals singing in the background as you look at the victory garden from Matthew's Botanical Garden.